In this video I'm going to make an infinite boat and infinite power supply in Dock 37. The Last Caretaker is a game that has very finite resources in which you've got to be very careful with and how you use. So this way, by making an infinite power supply in a dock and an infinite power supply on the boat itself, we can go anywhere and not have to worry about diesel or batteries or anything like that. Right, so I started the new game and I knew that I would need quite a lot of resources to fix everything up on top of the roof, that and make a lot of cables and stuff like that as well, to get everything all connected up and to get all the batteries charging to make an infinite powered base using the wind and solar farms on the roof. So heading into the dockyard, I used the boat to recycle everything that I sort of needed to go up onto the roof to go and fix everything. Why did I use the boat? I used the boat because, just convenience to be honest. I used the boat because I could just grab everything and just throw it in the boat instead of running in and out of the little recycling room that's underneath the main power conduit for the whole base. So instead I used the boat, threw everything in there. Once everything that I wanted was in there, straight into the recycler, stuff out, upstairs. On the way up to the roof, there was quite a lot of like cables and stuff coming down the stairs, which is really good because you can't get cables to go that far. I don't know how the previous person in the game world would have managed to have gotten a cable to go more than 20 meters, but however, they have. So heading upstairs and out onto the roof, immediately you notice quite a few little enemies and them sort of like sack things that burst. I don't know what they're called yet. So destroying a few of those and killing quite a few of the little wee robotic sort of insects that come out of them. Going to actually fix the solar panels and the wind farms. Some of the resources vary differently from each of the panels or the wind farms. I don't know why that is, but it definitely keeps you on your toes. I ran one of the things that I did run out of was fabric, but that wasn't really much of a problem. I just had to go downstairs and get some more. Once I'd fixed everything, I wasn't able to connect it all together because I didn't have enough of the electric cable connectors. I went into the skills menu and then I was able to unlock loads of stuff that I needed in there, which was something that I didn't really think you were able to do in the demo version of the game. Once I had unlocked all the skills to make everything, I managed to make a cable connector and then connect everything together. You do really need that cable connector to connect both all the wind farm and the solar farm together. You only really need the one extra, so it's not too bad. And the great advantage to having both of them connected together all the time and connected to the battery at the bottom is that you're generating electricity day or night, because there's always a wind at night, but the sun's always out during the day, so you're always able to make energy. Going down the stairs, I connected the wind farms to one of the batteries. It very quickly started filling up. I then went and tested the entire base, running only off of the wind farm and solar farm from the roof, and yeah, the whole base worked just fine. I constantly check all the connections to see what the input and the outputs are, just to see how much energy that I'm keeping or losing. Looking at the conduit for the entire base with all the machines running, all the lights on and everything like that, it's only using 0.7 kilowatts, which is actually a very little amount. After reconnecting the wind and solar farm to the battery again, I make this sort of loop so that it goes into the next battery, and then that battery then goes out into the rest of the base. With all the batteries in the base now full, I've got about 24 kilowatts of power ready to go straight on tap, and then that would fill again quite quickly. So you could pretty much say you've got infinite power in the base, no matter what you do. That was all achieved without adding any extra devices to the roof to generate even more power, which you could do as well. In this playthrough, I didn't unlock that option because I was more focused on connecting everything up to see how well it would perform, so I didn't actually get those. Now that I've achieved my goals in the base, I go into the ship to have a look for some secret locations, some hidden places around the base. And I do find quite a few. The first one that I found was one of the grates in the side wall was broken. I then ended up parking the boat up next to it, and then I jumped through in to have a look and see. One of the cool things that was in there was a mystery box. Having a little scrummage around, I managed to see exactly where I was. I was behind the wall from the dockyard itself. Going back onto the boat to have another look for more hidden locations, I found a broken air vent or something like that. I went inside and there was loads of these bug creatures in there with pod things that just explode, and there was quite a lot of them and it was quite tricky. you'll notice my gun manages to take care of them pretty well. One thing that I did find in the air vent was gun ammunition. I haven't found a gun, but I found a gun ammunition. Leaving the air vent, I found a hidden ledge. On the ledge was just a bunch of junk and stuff like that, and there was also one of them drawings on the wall with the adult and the kid, and a couple of like 6 days or something like that. There was another one inside. If you go along one of the air vents inside and climb down a ladder, you see the exact same drawing on the wall. Again, I don't know if that's intentional, I don't know if there's a clue to that somewhere, but that's the two hidden locations where you find that. Going back up onto the roof, I found a little basketball court and I had a few tries at playing basketball. After driving around for quite a wee while looking for hidden places because storms kept coming in and I couldn't really see, after a wee while of driving around, the ship battery and the diesel in the ship as well started to deplete quite quickly. I was actually quite surprised on how very little distance I managed to get. I know it is only a demo, I don't know if the main game's going to be different, however this ship ended up dying just outside the base. And while a lot of my main intention was to make an infinite powered base, I kind of realised something, that I don't need an infinite powered base, I need an infinite powered boat. Because as much as you can make an infinite powered base, that's great, but you can't take it with you. And it's a very, very vast open ocean world. And if the boat doesn't go very far in a full tank of diesel, with diesel being a very finite resource in the game, I need to do something about that. Here's what I did. So after that disaster of getting stranded out in the middle of the ocean on our little boat, we start our new project, which is going to be heavily reliant on resources. So as you can see, I've got everything that I could manage to fit on this elevator. Sofas, everything. Getting it through all the doors is going to be an interesting one. But I do manage. I get it through the doors. I get all the sofas through the doors before I even turn on the lights. And yep, same thing again, straight onto the boat, and I just throw everything. As you can see, it turns into quite a mess. But that's not a bad thing, because it's just right there and I can chuck it all straight into the recycling machine. Now, I didn't power up the boat fully. I only powered it just enough. I have a reason for that, and I'll get back to it. So after much gathering of resources, like what you can see right now, and after much hard work from the recycling machine, the battery in the boat dies quite a few times, because I only powered it a little bit. But that's okay. I power up the base and immediately open the bay doors. Once I've got enough resources, I start unlocking all the skills required to make the boat infinite powered, and then I get to work. So we go over to the fabricator and we start making all of our components necessary to make windmills and solar panels. As you can see, there's quite a lot involved with the resources to make those as well. Once I've got enough of those made up, we go out onto the boat and start placing everything. When I go to the deck of the boat, I start placing all these solar panels. I want to kind of space them out a wee bit. I don't want them all just to be like on one side. I want them to be sort of scattered about. So after I've placed all the solar panels where I want them to be, I make 3 cable connectors, one for every 3 of them. I've got 9 solar panels in total. I end up connecting all the solar panels to all the cable connectors, and then I connect all the cable connectors to one cable connector, which then puts the cable into the boat so that all the electricity, all of our good stuff, goes straight into the battery. I do the exact same thing with the windmills, although I just put all the windmills down one side. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but they're there. Maybe when it comes to the main game itself instead of the demo, I'll maybe lay them out a bit better and nicer. One thing that I do is I turn both the cable connectors going into the boat off. I want them to be off just now because I don't want to use them immediately. I want to let the boat die. That's why I'm not charging it up full. I want the boat to be dead in the water and to see how they perform in charging the battery while driving it. And yes, I could have just done that anyway with a fully charged boat, but it's not exactly field testing it very well, because you already have battery. It doesn't matter if you use a lot and then very slowly gain some back. I want to see dead in the water if it can revive the boat and keep it going while it's reviving the boat from no battery up to full while sailing. Once I'm happy with the way everything's all connected, I drive the boat out the dockyard on its maiden voyage, and it very quickly dies. After it dies, I turn on both the cable connectors and we watch our juice flow in. Now at this point I've got the boat switched off at the main switch just to give the battery a little bit of a chance, just to get a little bit of charge in it before we start driving. So I switch on the boat and start sailing with very little to no battery in there. Now the main test that I really want to do here is to fill the battery completely while the boat is constantly moving. So in other words, like we're sailing right across the ocean, started with no battery, and just go and keep going. Pretty much as if we're sailing from one end of the map to the other. I know it's supposed to be quite a vast, expansive ocean, so that's kind of what I'm wanting to test. 2 hours pass by, and during that 2 hours I make a few extra windmills and solar panels, just for the sake of it. It wasn't really needed, to be honest, because the battery was charging pretty well as it was. While I was out in the ocean during that 2 hours as well, I used the net at the back of the boat to go and collect extra resources, and I got some resources which were pretty cool, like carbon fibre and stuff like that, just from sort of sea junk that the net collects. It collects up to something about 14 kilos or something like that. I don't know if that's just for the demo, or I don't know if that's going to be the thing in the main game. I don't know if it's going to be more or less as it is. Once the 2 hour test is over, as you can see here, the battery is 100% and the boat is still driving. If you notice the green bar on the battery display, how it's in the green section and not in the red section, whereas when you're using power it goes into the red section, showing that you're losing battery. Even with the battery 100%, it's still green, which means that you've got more than excess amount of power to run machines like the recycling machine or the crafting machine, or maybe some other machines, because you'll be able to make more in the main game. So yes, we have ourselves now an infinite power boat that I've tested properly, and it can go right across the entire ocean. One go, no stopping, there's no refueling required, there's no having to carry excess fuel, if that makes sense, except for maybe in an emergency circumstance. I would probably keep a tank of diesel. You will notice that I do have a full tank of diesel and I haven't used any at all. You can fill up the fuel tank but not use it by pressing the breaker switch on the actual engine itself, and it won't use any fuel. It will disable that engine. You can do the exact same with the electric motor as well. You can disable that and only use diesel, or if you have them both switched on, you'll be using both electric and diesel. Now there's quite a lot of advantages to that, obviously, with the infinite amount of power that you'll have to keep on moving and use machines at the same time. However, the disadvantage to that is you're not going to be able to go as fast. In electric only mode, you can only go about 14, 15, 16 knots. I'm sure there'll be more upgrades available that you can make it go faster than that, but currently right now in the demo you can only go about 14 knots. With both engines activated, you're able to go 29 knots, which is quite a significant difference. But you have to sort of weigh that up. Do you want to be stopping every station to steal diesel, or worry or panic about, am I going to get diesel, or do I need to save my diesel, or what? You're not going to really have to worry about that if you've got an infinite electrically powered boat. I know later in the game, watching a lot of the footage that is out there, that you have diesel powered generators and stuff like that. I had a look through the skill list, and yes, they are there, diesel powered generators, and you use them to power high powered machines and stuff like that you're not going to be able to power with a conventional battery, or maybe the batteries are just not going to be there, which is another advantage to the boat, because the boat can power a base. When I connected the wind farm to the base and it was only using 0.7 kilowatts to power everything, the boat can charge in a storm, or when it's windy and raining, or even in the sun, it can charge up to about 54 kilowatts. Every possibility that you can easily power a base and have the boat just sitting outside, where it's raining, where it's windy, where it's sunny. So let's just go over the advantages and disadvantages again. So the advantages are you can keep going and not have to worry about using up any resources to get places. The second advantage is being able to power bases like dockyards or facilities. I'm not sure what the total capacity of a full facility in the game will be, but if it's anything like the dockyard, where the basic functions only use like 0.7 kilowatts, or maybe even 5 kilowatts, draining the battery by 5 kilowatts, then it's manageable. You could potentially power that with just the boat. Disadvantages, yeah, it's slow. You have to kind of weigh that up. How fast do you need to get someplace? And if you've got to get somewhere fast, yep, both diesel and electric engines, boom, you'll get there twice as quick, but you will be using a lot of resources doing that. The boat died very quickly when I was just circling around the base. It did not take long for it to die. So even though you want to go fast, you won't be able to do it for long. Yep, subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We do have quite an extensive list of a lot of games coming up over this next year, which includes hopefully Jurassic Park Survival. Really psyched about that. I've been following that for a long time. Fable, really happy and really psyched out about that as well. Black Ops 7, Routine, that'll be coming out December, so really looking forward to that. We've got Halo Combat, no it's not Combat, it's Campaign Evolved, that's coming out next year. And yeah, that's just a small list of what we'll be looking at in the coming months. So hopefully we'll get a release date for Fable, hopefully we'll get a release date for Jurassic Park Survival. Really psyched about that. Yeah, stay tuned for those, and I'll catch you in the next one.